Boy, born down here in a jam down, boy, you cannot keep I forward here to free I people, you got to free I. You send I through your schoolroom, but you cannot teach I. You better send I forward Africa, fire me burn. All when you send I to Madam Mary, boy, she cannot keep I say you send your friend come shot me, but him could do kill I. You send the Babylon fi hang me, but them could do stop I. You better send I forward Ethiopia at a fire I burn. All when you send I forward Ethiopia at a fire I burn. I say I call on his imperial majesty, you cannot keep I. You sell out Marcus Garvey, but you got to free I. All when you give me all your white word, them cannot keep I. Even though I born down here in a jam down, boy, you cannot hold I said I forward here to free I. People, you got to free I. You send I through your schoolroom, but you cannot teach.
Yeah, some boy walk around and this a black woman, you know. I'm gonna feel like a
very personal friend of mine, the Honorable Horace Matthews. He is a political candidate for the Marcus Garvey People Political Party. Horace Matthews, my friend, I've known him for well over 20 years. A very hard-working, conscientious, honest individual. A person that, if given an opportunity, or when given an opportunity, will serve and serve his people well. Mr. Matthews, welcome to industry.
Blessed. I am Ishaka Musa Menelik. Full name Heru Ishaka Musa Menelik. That is my name that I have adopted as an African. I was born the 1st of May 1950 and christened by my parents as Horace Hugo Matthews. On the 10th of the 10th, double 10, I have been transformed by this occasion. I have now thrown away my English name. I've sent it back to England. I am now Ishaka Musa Menelik, the freedom fighter, walking in the footsteps of Shaka Benawayo. Paul Bogle. The transformation has been complete. Now, if there's a governor here around, I want to see him. We have a date in destiny to deal with him. We want the head of governor here.
Right? And not only that.
Extremely hard from as early as 5 o'clock this morning. What gave you that jump start to move for Paul Bogle, especially?
Well, this is a memorable occasion, most memorable I want to add. 150 years where our civil liberties were birthed from the Morant Bay Rebellion. Without that, we would not be moving towards an egalitarian society. So Paul Bogle is one of our most revered hero. So to honor him and his memory today is a pleasure for me. I do so with all the energies of my ancestors, right strung through all the veins in my body. I do it because I know at year 3000 we will be remembered for what we are doing here today.
Ishaka Musa Menelik is your new name.
Menelik, yes.
You gain, you regain your identity as of the 10th of the 10th, this year, October 10th.
Yes.
What is so spiritual about that day, and why did you choose that day? or the day chose you?
The day chose me because, as I said, when I went to Stony Gut and King David opened up the revival space, a lot of the ancestors came in, and the ancestors reminded me, I am not Horace Matthews. Horace Matthews is the invention of some white man. I am Ishaka Musa Menelik, because they remind me that Paul Bogle is Shaka Benawayo, that great African warrior. So I had to, at that day, 10-10, double 10 in 2015, regain my African consciousness and my African identity as Ishaka Musa Menelik, the freedom fighter, the warrior. Certain things happening to me along my life that made me feel uncomfortable with the name that I was given. There were certain markers in life that prepare you for adult life. When I was 5 years old, my eldest brother in 1955 was migrating to England. And I remember at the airport, my father looked at him and said, "My son, you are going to the white man's country. Promise me you won't marry a white woman." I don't know why he said it, but that stuck with me. I can't remember much other that my father said while I was 5 years old. That statement resonated in me. 1955. In 1962, when we gained independence and they took down the Union Jack and raised the Jamaican flag, both my parents said, it's black man's time now. We are really liberated. And you know, it meant really nothing to me. All it meant was one flag coming down and one flag going up. But by 1964, when I met Marcus Garvey Jr. as my teacher in school, and he started to teach me about Africa, teach me about the works of his father, the Honorable Marcus Garvey, I started, and as Marcus Garvey said, he did not see color before. I did not see color before as a youth coming up. But at that point, I started to see color. And I started to look at myself, compare myself to the Chinese around me, the Indians around me, and the whites around me. And I was feeling inferior because they had everything they could eat. They had all the fancy things that were available that money could buy. We didn't have it. And I was bitter. I remember having a friend, a Chinese, and I was saying to him, I wish I was you and you were me, if we could trade places. And it kept with me, and I remember that going into like even in the banks and the business place, it was only white people that had the money and the big positions. And I am saying to myself, why was I cursed? I was seeing it like a curse. But the more I started to read, the period of the United States celebrating Black Power started, and a lot of books became available. And started reading these books, reading of achievements of Africans. I started feeling proud to be black. And the whole reversal started to take place. that instead of feeling inferior and negative and wanting to be white, I was proud to be black. And the more I spoke with the Honorable Marcus Garvey Jr., and he championed the cause for us as black people, I realized then and there that I must be a part of the struggle. And then, as I said, my search started getting books about black history, reading up and learning more. And gradually that became a part of my life, that I used to sell black literature. I used to support the Rastafari movement. Even though my parents was opposed to it, I would wear red, gold and green when I was out on my own. But when I went home, I couldn't wear it because they were against it. You know, they were not enlightened. But I was sorry for them. And gradually, I met other people. We formed little black groups. We emulated the Black Panther. We dressed like the Black Panther because at the time I could not locks and I could not wear the red, gold and green. So the next best thing for me was the Black Panther, and my father seemed to have liked the Black Panther movement. So, and my mother also. So that was good at that time. Eventually, after leaving school and hearing about the UNIA, I decided to be a member of the UNIA. Initially, the UNIA was not very active. It was a lot of older members there. So in 1974, when I traveled to New York for the first time, I met with Marcus Garvey Jr. again. And he asked me to help to relaunch the UNIA in Jamaica. I didn't get to do it. I failed in that attempt. Because what had happened, I had started now to create a family. By that time, I had 3 children. So I had mouths to feed. But I still tried to attend functions and things like that to give my support. But it was always there in me. So it was not until in the 80s that I met up with Muta Baruka, and he was very vocal. I met up with the first president of the Marcus Garvey Party, Ras Miguel Lorne, and then I started to become more active again. I eventually got involved with the UNIA, and the UNIA was up and running again. It was my money, that because you had to pay a fee to the parent body. So it was actually because the UNIA didn't have any money at the time. So I actually paid the first fee to register the UNIA, which I did not regret. I was really glad to do it. And eventually the UNIA was going. We had one division of the UNIA, the Kingston division. Eventually I met again with Marcus Garvey Jr. when he came to Jamaica, and we spoke. And he mandated me to get as many divisions of the UNIA started up. He said when Mr. Garvey was here, there was 11 divisions of the UNIA, and he talked with that authority. So he championed me to go out and get 11 divisions formed. So I had to leave the Kingston division, and I went out and I started the St. Andrew division. And I was the first president of the St. Andrew division. Then we had a division in Spanish Town, one in Montego Bay, one in St. Thomas. So we eventually had about 7 active divisions and some chapters that were not. For a division, you have to pay the fee before you are recognized. and you have to have a 7-member board.
When Rastafari come into this electoral process, 2 ways you can take over the governance of a country: by an uprising or by the ballot. We have chosen the ballot, which would cause less bloodshed. So it's an honor for me to participate in this upcoming general election, going through the process of the ballot. And definitely we are hoping that all Jamaicans will wise up and rise up, because the time is now that we have to cast off the hero worship of the old colonial masters and create our own destiny. As Marcus Mosiah Garvey said, one God, one aim, one destiny. Jamaica is 99% black people. So there's no way that if we are voting in our own interest and in the interest of our political rights, that a Marcus Garvey party will not win. And I tell you, as I said the word party, I realized that we have been just like other parties over the years, doing what they have done. For the next general election, we will be the Marcus Garvey movement. Blessed love. Hallelujah. As I stand in front of the great monument dedicated to Sam Sharp, it brings to mind Prophecy Isis, Bloody War, the great rebellion of 1831 by Sam Sharp is brought to life by Prophecy Isis in his wonderful music, Bloody War. The Christmas Day rebellion was bloody war, because we had to stand up and fight for our rights as human beings. Africans, being subjugated to inhuman treatment. Sam Sharp, that Baptist preacher, had to rise up to defend the rights of black people being trampled upon. So we look today at this great prophecy Isis, bringing to life that vivid memory of that bloody war in 1831, in which we had to receive a lot of freedom, a lot of changes were made. Today we are in the same position that we need change, and for change we need a revolution. Bloody War by Prophecy Isis brings you to the thought process to rise up and rise up. Bloody War by Prophecy Isis is the paradigm shift that we have been waiting for. In honor of Sam Sharp, national hero, leader of the Christmas Day Rebellion. My God, Prophecy Isis, you hit the nail on the head. Bloody war is what we need in this time. Prophecy Isis. Blessed love.
In the streets as Big Stone is rocking and moving and swaying to the biggest sound that will hit Jamaica. Yes, I have Bloody War by one of the artists that is going to bring Jamaica back to his feet, Prophecy Isis. We want to give thanks to Bongo Herman, Wayne Arman, Twinny, Allah and Ace. These are the great musicians that plays on this rhythm at Anchor Recording Studio in Kingston, Jamaica. We just want to say, Jamaica, a bloody war was fought by many of the Maroons. A bloody war was fought by Paul Bogle. A bloody war was fought by Sam Sharp. And Marcus Garvey intellectually fight the war for all of us to come to the fort and recognize our greatness. Prophecy Isis to the world. You don't know Big Stone, salute the eye, my brother, to come forward with this great song to uplift and motivate our people. I salute you. The rhythm is mad. You see it there? See it there? See it there? Boom!
Political party will be putting forward ways to reduce crime. What better way to reduce crime than to put culture into the minds of the people? When you have a low self-esteem, then you will be corrupt in your thoughts and you will want to commit crimes, heinous crimes, as taken from the elderly. You don't respect the elderly. One of the African principles that we have is to honor your elders. Honor by way of basically immortalizing your elders. When you lose respect for your elders, then you will do anything. And this is what happened. Those two guys that did it, we know that those guys have no form of cultural upbringing. They are just like, as Marcus Garvey said, anyone without the knowledge of their history is like a tree without a root. They are dead. And this is what happened to those two youths. They are dead in mind and in thought. This is why they could not respect their elders and pounce upon them.
Well, we have heard that in the news another political party, the ruling political party, have passed what you call the 7th IMF test. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, we know the conditionalities of the IMF is just to get the IMF their repayment. They think only on how can that country repay us. So passing the test is good for the IMF. It is not good for Jamaica because, as you know, Jamaica is suffering. We have 80% of the people living under the poverty line. Now we have to institute Marcus Garvey's self-reliance in the people's mind. Right now we are importing more food to eat than we are producing. And the first principle Marcus Garvey said, we must learn to feed ourselves through self-reliance. Clothe yourself through self-reliance. And shelter yourself through self-reliance. Jamaica at the moment is doing none of the three. This is why we are in the state that we are. Importing food just to survive. Section 3
of our constitution, the constitution. This is the law of the land, the written constitution. It says every worker has a right to join a union. Every worker has a right to join a union. Our hotel workers have not been able to join a union. Our security guards have not been able to join a union. We met with the Minister of Labour, and the Minister of Labour says his hands is tied, he can do nothing about it. And he is the man that controls the law. In the Labour Relation and Industrial Dispute Act, it describes a worker and it describes the functionaries of a worker and the benefits that the worker should derive. It is there. But because the oligarchs give to both parties, that's the thing, they don't give to one party like they are aligned to one party. When they give to both parties. So whoever wins owes them a favor. And this is why they keep laws in place that protect these people, making super profits at the expense of the workers. So the time has come when we are saying the people of Jamaica needs better. The people of Jamaica needs to be a part of the pie, the sharing of the pie in a more equitable way that the people should be benefited. We should never have a homeless person in Jamaica. We should never have a squatter in Jamaica. But 80% of our people are squatters, are homeless. 80%. If you don't own a home and have a title, you're a squatter. You're squatting somewhere. You're squatting on somebody's land. You must. We are saying this is a human right. We are articulating the position that to own a home is a human right. Basic human right. And we are going to put it in writing, and we are going to put the necessary framework in place to show that it can be done. And it must be done. So my my life now, whatever is left of this physical body, is to articulate the political position to change the system as it is from an oligarchy to an egalitarian governmental system. Activist from 1964.
Okay. Yeah, but I this door. Rosie. Repatriation of history. Thank you, sir.
What do you want to tell the world? What's going through your mind at this particular moment?
That our leaders in Jamaica are weak leaders, very weak, because reparations should be on the table from 1962.
Yeah.
And they have not argued for reparation from 1962 until now. So all the leaders that we have had in Parliament are weak leaders. We want strong African-oriented leaders to lead Jamaica. Jamaica is 90% African people, 5% mixed race, and 1% Caucasian. so Jamaica can be seen as an African colony. So we want to right the wrongs of history by claiming reparations. When we calculate reparations, England owe us 700 trillion pounds. 700 trillion pounds. And this is calculated off the amount that they paid to the slave owners, the planter class that got 21 million pounds. So we calculate it at the same, which work out to 25% of the United Kingdom's budget. So we are claiming that money, and as they say, there is no statute of limitation that can deny us the right to claim reparation. It is our right. It's not we're begging. We are not mendicants. We are demanding our rights. And Mr. Garvey was voted in the top 50 philosophers of all time. So you read about Plato, Socrates, Diodorus, Siculus, all Greeks. But no one knows the great work of Marcus Messiah Garvey, voted in the year 2000 in the top 50 philosophers of all time. So it's with great pleasure that I present to you, on behalf of the school, a copy of the philosophy and opinions of Marcus Garvey. And I know if all read this book, you shall be as great as Mr. Garvey.
Yes, sir.
So you're most welcome.
You're welcome. Thanks very much, and I'm sure that all our children will go to the library.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are at the Norman Manley International Airport. Today is April 21st, 2016. Exactly 50 years since His Imperial Majesty touched down on this beautiful soil known as Jamaica. This airport was named Palisados Airport. It is now known as the Norman Manley International Airport. And of course, I'm here with Heru Ishaka Musa Menelik. Greetings, my brother.
Blessed love.
I must say and ask this question, because the world is going to ask this question. I know you must have experienced the visit of His Imperial Majesty 15 years ago in some way or fashion. Where were you at that time, and how old were you at that time when His Imperial Majesty came to these beautiful shores 50 years ago?
Well, 50 years ago I was attending Kingston Technical High School.
Yes.
As a student, I was actually in St. Thomas at the time when His Majesty arrived at the airport. And it was a wonderful feeling because the rain was falling, and just at the time when His Majesty arrived, the rain stopped falling, you know, when we were hearing the report.
Yes.
So it was something very significant to me at that time, you know, and we heard people talking about it.
How old were you? The age mattered. I was 9 years old, and I just wanted to see all your memory of recollection, you know, what in terms of the age. How old were you at the time?
At that time I was 16.
You were 16 years old.
16 years old.
So you was fresh with your thoughts, and everything was done, developed, and everything to absorb that historical visit then, whatever was heard.
Yes. And you see, the good thing, the Honorable Marcus Garvey Jr. was my teacher.
Oh, okay.
So he showed me the greatness of Ethiopia. So we were always looking forward to His Majesty coming to visit Jamaica. We knew it would happen someday.
What are your thoughts 50 years later, now that you're here? It's a beautiful morning, it's not raining, a little overcast. What are your feelings going through your minds at the state of where Jamaica is right now? And what are your feelings?
Well, it is very significant at this time, 50 years after His Majesty came. His Majesty said to us before we left the soil of Jamaica, organize and centralize.
And we have not done that.
And
we have not done that.
We have not accomplished that, and we are suffering because of that disunity, as I would put it. And it is so significant now to what is happening in the world that the time has come when we must organize and centralize, or we shall die.
Or we shall die. How important to the common person to grasp that? Because if they have not grasped it 50 years on, How you think you can give them that message so they understand and abide by that principle?
Well, Marcus Garvey had a wonderful saying, you know, that man shall not know himself until his back is against the wall. And what you find now is that a lot of us, our backs are against the wall. The economic stagnation that is gripping the world today, and it shows you that 85% of the world's population is living under the poverty line. That means they exist on $1 a day.
Wow.
85% of us and sinking deeper. So that is the reality of what is happening today. It must change or you shall die.
You think the Crown Prince will bring any gift and guidance in terms of how we take it for the next 50 years on?
Well, the greatest thing is the word sound. In the beginning was the word, and the word take unto itself flesh and dwell amongst man. So we shall have a word of encouragement, a word of inspiration that will lift us up out of this stagnation that we are in. Because everything starts with the word. Before the word, you have the thought. After the thought, you get the word. After the word comes the action. And this is what we must get ourselves prepared to do now. When we get the word, we produce the action. Liberation is a must.
Liberation is a must. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Horace Hugo Matthews, aka Ishaka Musa Menelik. We would love for him to be the next Prime Minister of this country. Jamaica, it's about time we wise up. About time we look for those who look for you. Honorable Marcus Garvey gave up his life. He gave up his life. He gave up his family life just to make sure that he worked and did all the work for all of us, not just here in Jamaica, but right across the world. Awesome.